have to live the rest of my life knowing that I wasn't there for my baby.
How does a night meant to celebrate love end in blood on the floor? Just hours after a joyful proposal, a popular hairstylist lay dying in her own home, the man she trusted standing over her with a gun. What unfolded behind that apartment door would expose hidden cracks, buried fear, and a version of love that turned lethal. This is the investigation into Amanda S. Williams, a life built with purpose, and the moment everything shattered forever that night. A woman built from ambition and grace. Amanda S. Williams was the kind of woman whose presence filled a room long before she spoke. Born on April 18, 1977 in Cleveland, Ohio, she was raised in a close-knit family that believed in discipline, love, and self-respect. Those values shaped her early and followed her into adulthood. From a young age, Amanda showed an unusual focus and determination. She was not content with survival. She wanted growth, purpose, and legacy. After graduating from Shaw High School in 1995, she pushed herself further, earning a Bachelor of Science degree from Cleveland State University. Education was not a trophy for her. It was a tool. Motherhood became one of her proudest identities.
Me to be traumatized. I was traumatized the moment I walked in the room and see my mom lying there.
Amanda raised her children, Tyler M. Williams and Tris W. Beckley, with fierce devotion while balancing work and ambition. Later, she embraced the role of grandmother to her grandson.
We can't get my mom back, ever. My daughter has to grow up without a grandma.
Tylen M. Williams, a bond that grounded her even more deeply in family. Yet Amanda never allowed responsibility to shrink her dreams. She expanded them. Beauty and fashion fascinated her not for vanity but for transformation. She understood how confidence could be rebuilt with care, precision, and creativity. What began in living rooms and kitchens turned into a reputation built on trust. Clients followed her because Amanda listened. She worked relentlessly, turning skill into structure and passion into business. In 2023, she opened Alamode Styles in University Heights, a milestone earned through years of discipline and sacrifice. Alongside the salon, she launched her own hair care line, proving she was not just a stylist, but an entrepreneur. Online, Amanda radiated positivity and drive. Her social media reflected hustle without arrogance, success without noise.
Amanda!
Friends and family remember her as fearless, generous, and endlessly encouraging. She was building something real, not just for herself, but for those who looked to her as proof that consistency could change everything. She had momentum, a future, and plans still unfolding. And then one night, all of it stopped. A love story that looked perfect from the outside. From the outside, Amanda S. Williams appeared to have found balance between ambition and love. For more than 6 years, she was in a relationship with Terrell Edward, a man who seemed steady, dependable, and supportive. He worked at a hospital and drove for Walmart on the side, presenting himself as someone willing to work hard and build a future. Together, they lived in Warrensville Heights, sharing a home and a life that looked stable to anyone watching from a distance. Their social media posts told a familiar story of affection and laughter and shared milestones. Amanda often shared moments from their relationship, celebration trips, birthdays, and quiet everyday joy. Friends and followers saw smiles, warmth, and what looked like security. In early 2023, that image reached its peak when Terrell proposed. With family and friends involved, the proposal appeared thoughtful and sincere. Amanda said yes, surrounded by applause, happiness, and emotion. For her, it marked the beginning of a long-awaited new chapter, one she believed she had earned through years of patience and growth. Those close to Amanda later revealed that she had begun to notice patterns she could no longer ignore. Small red flags became larger warning signs. Control, manipulation, and emotional strain slowly replaced comfort. Amanda was known for perseverance, but this was different. The unease followed her even during moments meant to be joyful. Still, she held on, believing time and effort could restore what they once had. Unseen to the public, Amanda was preparing for change. According to family and friends, she had begun planning an exit. She was thinking about the safety of her children, about her future. The relationship that once felt like a promise was now a source of anxiety. Love had shifted into something unpredictable. The night the celebration turned into a crime scene. October 9th, 2023. 3 began like any other weekday, but ended in silence and sirens. Inside the Warrensville Heights apartment, tension had been building for hours. What started as arguments earlier in the day carried into the night, growing heavier as the clock moved closer to midnight. Behind closed doors, a relationship already strained reached a breaking point. There were no witnesses inside the home, only 2 people in years of unresolved conflict pressing inward. At approximately 11:30 that night, a chilling call reached emergency services. A male voice on the line admitted he had just shot his fiancée.
I guess my girl wanted the message, and she was trying to come out.
Officers rushed to the apartment, unaware of the scene awaiting them. When they entered, they found Amanda S. Williams on the floor, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. The vibrant entrepreneur and mother, who had spent her life building something meaningful, was barely alive. First responders acted quickly, assessing her condition and attempting life-saving measures. Her injuries were severe, and time was slipping away. Amanda was transported to South Point Hospital, where medical teams worked urgently to save her. Despite every effort, she was pronounced dead. The woman who had celebrated love and possibility only hours earlier was gone. Inside the apartment, investigators began documenting the scene. Evidence suggested the shooting occurred in the bedroom during an intense confrontation. A firearm was recovered, and the layout of the room raised immediate questions. The story given by Terrell Edwards would soon become central to the case. He claimed the shooting happened in self-defense during a heated argument. According to his account, Amanda had threatened him and blocked his exit, leaving him with no choice. But early details did not sit easily with authorities. The number of gunshot wounds and the physical evidence suggested something more complex. Amanda was unarmed when officers arrived. There were no signs of forced entry or outside involvement. Everything pointed inward toward a domestic confrontation that escalated beyond control. Terrell was taken into custody for questioning, but initially released due to what was described as insufficient evidence. That decision shocked Amanda's family and community. The facts felt clear. A woman was dead, and the man who called it in walked free. Anger, grief, and disbelief spread quickly. That night marked more than a homicide. It marked the moment a carefully constructed life ended violently. It also marked the beginning of a long fight for truth. What happened in those final minutes would become the center of a legal battle where love, fear, and accountability collided. The apartment was quiet again, but the damage left behind would echo far beyond its walls. Self-defense or something more calculated. In the days following Amanda Williams' death, questions multiplied faster than answers. Terrell Edwards claimed the shooting was an act of self-preservation. He told investigators the argument had escalated out of control and that he feared for his life. According to his account, Amanda had threatened him, blocked his path, and lunged toward him, leaving him no option but to fire his weapon. On paper, the claim sounded familiar. In reality, the details began to fracture under scrutiny. Police reviewed the physical evidence from the apartment carefully. The location of shell casings, the position of the body, and the lack of defensive wounds raised concerns. Amanda had been shot multiple times, a fact that immediately complicated the self-defense narrative. Investigators noted that there were moments during the incident where disengagement appeared possible. Those moments mattered. What shifted the case dramatically was digital evidence. Cell phone video recorded by Terrell during the confrontation became a central focus. Prosecutors later argued that the footage contradicted his version of events. At no point in the recording did he warn Amanda that he was armed. At no point did he ask her to drop a weapon. Most critically, the video showed Amanda setting a knife down and moving away moments before the shots were fired. Medical testimony further weakened the self-defense claim. The gunshot wounds indicated trajectories inconsistent with an immediate threat. The number of shots fired suggested sustained action rather than panic. Each detail chipped away at the idea of a split-second decision made in fear. Family and friends also came forward with information that reframed the relationship. They described a history of emotional manipulation and prior violence. Records showed Terrell had been arrested for assault in 2019, involving Amanda. A separate restraining order filed by another woman in 2020 cited stalking and threats. These patterns suggested escalation, not isolation. Public pressure grew as the community demanded accountability. Amanda's daughter became a vocal advocate, pushing investigators to look deeper. Social media campaigns amplified unanswered questions and forced renewed attention. What initially appeared uncertain began to clarify. This was no longer about a chaotic moment. It was about intent control and credibility. The line between defense and decision grew thinner with every piece of evidence uncovered, and slowly the case turned toward a different conclusion, one that would soon be decided in court. Inside the courtroom where the story was rewritten. When Terrell Edwards' trial began in February 2024, the courtroom carried a weight that could be felt in silence. This was no longer about speculation or social media pressure. This was where facts would be tested and narratives would either survive or collapse. The prosecution made it clear from the start, this case was not about fear. It was about controlling anger and a deliberate decision made in a moment of confrontation. The first witness was the county deputy medical examiner, who confirmed that Amanda Williams died from multiple gunshot wounds. The medical findings established the brutality of the act and set the tone for what followed. Then came the evidence that would define the case. Cell phone videos recorded by Terrell on the night of the shooting were played for the jury. The footage showed a tense argument inside the bedroom, but it also revealed critical details that contradicted Terrell's claims. Amanda was seen demanding that he leave her home. At one point, she held a knife, but the video clearly showed her setting it down. Prosecutors emphasized that moment repeatedly. There was no warning, no request for her to stop, no attempt to retreat. Instead, the video ended with gunfire. The prosecution argued that the recording exposed intent, not panic. When Terrell took the stand, his testimony painted a different picture. He described fear, confusion, and desperation. He claimed Amanda's behavior felt threatening and unpredictable. He attempted to explain the shooting as the only way to protect himself, but under cross-examination, inconsistencies surfaced. Prosecutors questioned why he continued firing and why he never tried to leave, despite opportunities to do so. Witnesses and prior records added context that the jury could not ignore. Evidence of past domestic incidents weakened his credibility. The defense attempted to reframe the video, suggesting moments were missing. That argument failed to gain traction. After the closing arguments, the jury deliberated carefully.
You got her gun already, correct? You just said so.
Yes.
On March 4th, 2024, the verdict was delivered.
Again, pursuant to my discretion under 2914B1G.
Terrell Edwards was found guilty of murder, felonious assault, and domestic violence. He was acquitted of aggravated murder but sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 24 years. The courtroom exhaled. For Amanda's family, it was not closure but accountability. The story that began with self-defense ended with conviction. A community in mourning and the legacy left behind. When the verdict was read and the sentence imposed, the focus shifted from the man convicted to the woman whose life had been taken. Amanda S. Williams became more than a name in court records. She became a symbol of ambition and warmth, and the quiet strength that often goes unseen until it is gone. Outside the courtroom, her family and supporters stood together carrying grief that no sentence could erase. Amanda was laid to rest on October 19, 2023 in Warrenville Heights, Ohio. The service was filled with people whose lives she had touched through her words, her encouragement, and her presence. Clients, co-workers, friends, and family gathered, not to recount the violence, but to remember the woman who built something from nothing. She was remembered as a mother, first a grandmother who adored her grandchildren, and a woman who worked relentlessly to create stability and pride for her family. The case left deep scars in the community. Many questioned how warning signs could exist without intervention. Allegations of prior abuse and controlling behavior sparked conversations about domestic violence. and the hidden dangers behind polished social media images. Amanda's death forced difficult truths into the open about how often strength is mistaken for safety and how easily concern can be overlooked. Terrell Edwards was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 24 years. For Amanda's family, the punishment did not equate to justice, but it acknowledged responsibility. It affirmed that her death was not an accident or an act of fear, but a choice with consequences. Amanda's daughter, Tyler, emerged as a voice for accountability, using her pain to demand awareness and change. Her message was clear: that love should never require fear, and that silence protects the wrong person. Amanda S. Williams left behind more than tragedy. She left a legacy of resilience, creativity, and love. Her story now stands as a warning and a remembrance, a reminder that success and joy can coexist with unseen danger, and that recognizing the signs can mean the difference between celebration and loss.